My husband cheated with my twin sister, then acted like nothing happened. I confronted them both with undeniable evidence, but they gaslit me into believing I was paranoid. 3 months later, she announced her pregnancy at our family dinner. DNA test confirmed my worst fears. Now they want me to just move past it for family harmony. 32, female. Never imagined I'd be writing this. The life I thought I had, the marriage I believed in, the sister I trusted with my deepest secrets, it's all been a cruel illusion. Every memory now feels tainted. Every happy photo on our walls seems like a mockery. My husband, Jacob. 34, Male and I were college sweethearts. We met at a friend's party, dated for 3 years, and built what I thought was an unshakable foundation. 7 years of marriage, countless adventures, a home we lovingly furnished together, and plans for children that now make me physically ill to think about. Kelly is my identical twin. We've been inseparable since birth, finishing each other's sentences, feeling each other's pain, sharing clothes and friends and everything in between. We even attended the same university, though we studied different fields. The bond between twins is something special, almost mystical. At least, that's what I always believed. When I first introduced Jacob to my family, he and Kelly hit it off immediately. They shared the same dry humor, loved the same obscure bands, even had the same coffee order. I was thrilled. My husband and my twin getting along so well seemed like the perfect scenario. Looking back now, their instant connection takes on a sinister quality in my mind. Were there glances I missed? Signals that flew over my head while I sat there, blissfully unaware? For years, everything seemed perfect. Jacob and I bought our dream house, built our careers, and recently started discussing having a baby. Meanwhile, Kelly cycled through relationships that never quite worked out. About a year ago, she broke up with her long-term boyfriend, Alex. She was devastated, or at least she appeared to be. That's when things began to shift, so subtly at first that I questioned my own perception. Kelly started dropping by unannounced. Sometimes when I wasn't home, she'd just be in the neighborhood or need to borrow something urgent. Jacob encouraged these visits, saying she was struggling after her breakup and needed family support. "She's your sister," he'd say, squeezing my shoulder. "She needs us right now." I didn't think twice about it. After all, these were the two people I trusted most in the world. 6 months ago, small changes in Jacob's behavior began pricking at my subconscious. His phone suddenly had a passcode. He'd step outside to take calls. He was working late more often, coming home smelling of fresh cologne and mouthwash. When I asked if everything was okay, he'd blame work stress or an upcoming project deadline. "The Morrison account is killing me," he'd say, running his hands through his hair in that way that always made me want to comfort him. "Just need to get through this quarter." I believed him. We'd always been honest with each other. The thought that he might be lying seemed impossible. Then came the business trip. Jacob was scheduled to attend a week-long conference in Chicago. The night before his flight, Kelly called, asking if she could stay at our place while he was away. Her apartment was being fumigated, she claimed, and she needed somewhere to crash. "Of course," I said without hesitation. "You know you're always welcome." But the next morning, as I was helping Jacob pack, he suddenly announced his conference had been canceled. "Budget cuts," he explained. "They were postponing until next quarter." "That's strange," I said, noticing how he avoided meeting my eyes. "You were just telling me yesterday how important this was." He shrugged it off. "Corporate BS, you know how it goes." Kelly still came to stay, and what followed was a week of strangeness. There was tension in the air I couldn't quite name. Conversations that stopped when I entered a room. Inside jokes I wasn't part of. Secret glances I caught but couldn't decipher. One night I found one of Kelly's earrings in our master bathroom. When questioned, Jacob quickly explained that she needed to use our shower because the guest bathroom drain was clogged. "I was going to tell you," Kelly added, her voice just a fraction too high. "Just didn't want to bother you while you were on that work call." I nodded and smiled, but something cold and uneasy settled in my stomach. My sleep became restless. I'd wake up at odd hours, heart racing for no apparent reason. One night, around 2 a.m., I realized Jacob wasn't in bed. I got up to look for him, thinking he might have fallen asleep on the couch watching TV again. The living room was empty, but as I passed the guest room, Kelly's room, I noticed the door was slightly ajar. Soft voices drifted out. I froze in the hallway, straining to hear. I couldn't make out the words clearly, but I recognized Jacob's low murmur and Kelly's soft laugh, a laugh I'd heard my entire life, now sending chills down my spine. I stood there, heart pounding so violently I was sure they would hear it. Part of me wanted to push open that door, to confront whatever was happening on the other side, but another part, the part that wasn't ready for my world to collapse, held me back. I retreated to our bedroom and lay awake until dawn, telling myself there must be an innocent explanation. Maybe Kelly had a nightmare. Maybe they were planning a surprise for my upcoming birthday. Maybe. The next morning, they both acted completely normal. Kelly made pancakes for breakfast, Jacob kissed me goodbye before heading to work, and I sat there feeling like I was losing my mind. Was I creating problems where none existed? Was I really that insecure? I decided I needed evidence before confronting either of them. I hate to admit this, but I installed a hidden camera in our living room. I told myself it was for home security, but deep down, I knew what I was looking for. For a few days, nothing happened. They were careful, or maybe I really was imagining things. Then, on the fourth night, I had to work late. I texted Jacob to let him know I wouldn't be home until around 10 p.m. Kelly was still staying with us, claiming her apartment wasn't ready yet. When I checked the camera footage the next day, I saw it all. They didn't even wait an hour after my text before they were all over each other on our couch. The couch we'd picked out together when we moved into this house. I watched in horror as my husband and my twin sister betrayed me in the most intimate way possible. I felt physically sick. I had to pull over on my drive home from work to throw up on the side of the road. How long had this been going on? Was it just physical, or were there feelings involved? And how could they sit across from me at breakfast, looking me in the eye, acting like nothing was happening? I confronted them that evening. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I showed them the footage, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. I expected shock, shame, remorse, some acknowledgement of the pain they'd caused. Instead, they turned it around on me. Jacob was furious that I'd spied on him in our own home. Kelly cried about how I never trusted her, how I'd always been the suspicious twin. They made me feel like the one who had done something wrong. "You've always been so paranoid," Kelly said through tears. "This is exactly why I didn't want to stay here, but you insisted." Jacob backed her up. "You're seeing things that aren't there. We were watching a movie, and you're turning it into something dirty because you're insecure." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The evidence was right there on the screen, clear as day, but they continued to deny it, saying the angle made it look different than what actually happened, that I was overreacting. By the end of that conversation, I was questioning my own reality. Maybe the camera angle was misleading. Maybe I was letting my insecurities get the best of me. After all, would my twin sister and my husband really do this to me? Kelly moved back to her apartment the next day, and Jacob and I entered this strange period where we pretended everything was normal while sleeping as far apart as possible in our bed. I started going to therapy, thinking that maybe I did have trust issues I needed to work on. My therapist suggested bringing Jacob in for couples counseling, but he refused, saying I was the one with the problem. 3 months passed in this weird limbo. I was going through the motions of my life while feeling completely detached from it. I'd almost convinced myself that I had misinterpreted what I saw in that video, that my relationship with Jacob could be saved. Then came the family dinner at my parents' house. We all gathered around the table. My parents, my older brother and his wife, Jacob and me and Kelly. My mom had made her famous lasagna, and everyone was chatting about normal things like work and the latest Netflix shows. Halfway through dinner, Kelly clinked her glass with her fork. "I have an announcement," she said, beaming. "I'm pregnant." The table erupted in congratulations. My mother started crying tears of joy, talking about her first grandchild. My father shook invisible hands, already playing the proud grandpa. Only my brother looked confused, glancing between Kelly and me with furrowed brows. But who's the father? He asked, what everyone should have been wondering. You haven't been seeing anyone since Alex, have you? Kelly's smile faltered for just a moment before she recovered. I've been seeing someone quietly. I didn't want to jinx it by telling everyone too soon. I felt Jacob tense beside me. I looked at him and the guilt was written all over his face. In that moment, everything clicked into place. The timeline matched perfectly with when I'd caught them. The pregnancy explained why they'd been so adamant about gaslighting me. They weren't just hiding an affair, they were hiding a child. I excused myself to the bathroom where I had the second panic attack of my life. My brother found me there, hyperventilating and crying. He'd followed his instincts that something wasn't right. When I finally calmed down enough to speak, I told him everything. He believed me immediately, which was more validation than I'd had in months. We're going to handle this, he promised, his face grim with determination. When we returned to the table, my brother didn't mince words. Kelly, is Jacob the father of your baby? The table went silent. Kelly turned pale and Jacob looked like he wanted to disappear. My parents exchanged confused glances. Don't be ridiculous, Kelly finally said, but her voice trembled. My brother stood firm. Then you won't mind taking a paternity test once the baby is born. The argument that followed was ugly. Kelly accused me of being jealous of her pregnancy, of turning our family against her. Jacob just sat there, saying nothing to defend me or himself. My parents were bewildered, struggling to understand what was happening between their daughters. I moved out the next day, staying with my brother while I figured out what to do next. Jacob finally admitted to the affair, but claimed it was just a few times and meant nothing, as if that made it better. Kelly went back and forth between denying Jacob was the father and saying they'd fallen in love but didn't want to hurt me. The stories kept changing, but the betrayal remained the same. When the baby was born 7 months later, my brother insisted on the paternity test. Jacob tried to avoid it, but a court order made it happen. The results confirmed what I already knew. Jacob was the father of my twin sister's child. The most painful part wasn't even the affair or the baby. It was how they all expected me to just move past it for the sake of family harmony. My parents, after the initial shock, started talking about how blood is thicker than water and how the baby was innocent in all this. They were already planning family holidays where we would all come together, pretending everything was normal. Kelly had the audacity to ask if I would be the baby's godmother. She's still your niece, she said, as if that made everything okay. Family is family. Jacob attempted reconciliation, claiming he'd made a terrible mistake and wanted to work things out. We can get through this, he said. Plenty of couples survive affairs. But this wasn't just an affair. This was my husband and my twin sister creating a child together, then gaslighting me about it for months. There's no getting through that. I filed for divorce. I changed my phone number. I found a new job in a different city. My brother is the only family member I still speak to regularly. He updates me on my niece occasionally, sending pictures if I ask for them. I'm trying to separate my feelings about her from my feelings about her parents. She is innocent in all this, but I'm not ready to be in her life yet. Maybe someday. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more incredible stories of human resilience and betrayal.